She's preparing another kata.
Hello and welcome to another Bringing the Thunder. That's right here on my shirt. One you don't have.
Nope.
I have one you don't. Excellent, but you can get one if you keep coming here for more and more of these videos.
All right.
At one point I'll get you one as well.
Great.
Because everyone, we're happy we're back here together with Seba here for another amazing kata, another amazing exercise. What are we gonna do today?
So today we're going to take a look at one specific component that is available either in dashboards or low-code apps. It's in both. And we've added some capabilities to it recently, and I wanted to show you what it's capable of.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Now, just in case someone hasn't watched before and hasn't seen you here, who are you and what do you do at Skyline?
Okay. My name is Sebastian Dumoulin. I'm the product owner of everything related to dashboards, low-code apps, visual overview, and GUI, basically.
Perfect. All right.
All right.
Okay, we've got through the introduction, as we do. Let's jump into an amazing kata tutorial. Any prerequisites? Do they need to grab something to get started?
So as a classic, we've created a catalog package that you can download from the catalog, obviously.
Yes.
If you search for dashboard web component tutorial, you'll find it. You can hit that deploy button and it will actually deploy a low-code app on your system. So I have a data miner as a service running here. I've deployed this package on there, and I have this app which is deployed by that catalog.
A beautiful, beautiful dashboard to get started with on low-code app.
It's an app indeed. And this app will guide us through the exercises. So you'll see that the app itself contains some information and some assignments. We'll do those together here now. And at the end of this tutorial, we'll actually have a low-code app that works, basically. So if you then take a screenshot of that, we can get you those.
So we're starting from a situation that doesn't work?
Yeah, exactly.
And
so
we're heading to one that works.
Indeed, indeed. So this app is actually, it consists of two pages. One where we will have a static web component, and then a second page where we use a dynamic feed inside our web component. Okay, and both of these pages also have a button at the top right, which says show result, which basically shows you what the end of the exercise will actually look like. So you can take a sneak peek over there to see how it works and then go back to your original
What are you supposed to have and then what we have now.
Indeed.
Now you've mentioned web component a few times. What does that entail exactly?
So the web component is a component that you can drag on your dashboard or low-code app.
Just like any other component?
Just like any other component. And you can do two things with it. First thing is that you can embed some content of another web page in there. Or you can fill in the raw HTML and CSS to basically style some components in your low-code app. So it's basically a free-form text input. You put some HTML and CSS in there and it renders. And basically the UI that you see over here, all of these are web components. So it's also an intuitive way to create some very nice looking texts. So some titles or coloring, some words.
So it's either an existing web page that you're then probably going to link to or put it in there.
Yes, exactly.
Or it's kind of making a new page out of HTML and directly
so
embedding it in
low-code apps, the low-code part is actually in this case filling in some HTML and CSS.
Right. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, let's dig into it. I'm interested. So how do we proceed?
Okay, so for the static configuration, we have two assignments. And the first assignment says, okay, we have a web component over here beneath it.
That doesn't work.
That doesn't work yet. We want to make this display a web page. And secondly, we want to fill in the URL of that web page. And we are going to embed our great documentation website in there.
Okay, so directly to the docs. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So we can hit the top right side, press edit of our application. This takes us to our application. And we can actually click on the component itself. So this is a web component, it's already in there, and you see it as
giving you an error.
Yes.
Or was that written?
So this is the point. It's not configured, so it's saying, hey, I'm missing something. Please fill in the details. And you'll see that the settings is also highlighted in red, so we can go to the settings.
Okay, nice. So it's holding your hand a little bit, telling you, okay, something in there is not right.
So here it says custom HTML, but I don't want to have custom HTML. I want to embed another web page in here. So I'm actually going to say the type is actually a web page. And you see that the input field changes, and now it's saying, okay, you want to embed a web page, give me a URL. And we are actually going to fill this in. So this is static.
Yeah. So, and can it be anything? Can it be HTTP or only HTTPS? Or?
So if you're running on DAS, you're immediately using HTTPS.
Yeah.
Embedding websites also needs to be HTTP.
Okay, so okay.
And typically, as a guidline, it should always be this.
Yeah.
You don't want to have
security-wise and
basically
encryption and so on. Okay. No, good. Okay.
So we've filled in this URL, and we see that the data miner docs is embedding in here, and we can actually...
It's already visible even
It's already
in the
visible,
editor.
exactly. And if you publish, you will be able to scroll down and interact with it, basically. So that's already it for the first part.
Now, and how often would that refresh? Like, is it like constantly active?
This is actually an iframe which is embedded in there, so it doesn't refresh unless something would change to the URL. But right now it's static.
Okay.
So you can work inside this web page as you would in any web page.
Right. So, but if the on the web page itself would change,
you would see it.
You wouldn't need to restart.
No,
it.
no, that will be there.
Okay.
Okay. So then we have a second exercise, which is now, instead of embedding a page, we're going to insert some HTML, and I've prepared some HTML in here. Let me perhaps grab it by previewing the app.
All right, just to copy paste
this.
Life a bit easier.
Indeed, because I made this a bit nice looking, but it's quite some text. Don't want to insert this. And if you're not a coding wizard yourself, there are some nice AI tools that generate some HTML for you.
Yeah.
So we go to the settings. Instead of a web page, we say, I want to use a custom HTML instead.
Of creating our own web page directly with HTML and CSS code.
Yes, so I paste this in here. I'm not seeing anything because my AH1 tag is still empty. This is a title tag, and I can now fill this in with something like...
And the header one, yeah.
Hello there. And you see that our content is showing up beneath that.
Right. So that's the header itself, and then behind that, it's a bit small for me, it's a style. So that's
style,
the CSS that gives you that fade out, that gradient. Yes,
indeed,
that's the name.
Indeed. So you can basically completely skip this style if you just want to have some other HTML in there.
Yeah, but it's good that you mentioned, because this kind of code indeed these days comes pretty fluently out of any AI generation tool as well. So having the ability to use such tools, generate that for you, copy paste it in there, and immediately have a nice UI without having to fiddle too much around, that's pretty powerful.
Indeed.
That's a good way of utilizing what's out there and bringing that into our software. That's
exactly.
Cool.
So this is static, basically. So we either embed a page or we fill in some HTML.
Right.
Of course, if we take it up a notch, we want to actually make things dynamic. So when I select things, we see that other things change. So we have another page ready for this. So this is the using feeds page. So we have some other content in here, and I've actually added a GUI data source as well to just get some data in our app.
Okay.
And our data is actually a list of katas with references to the YouTube videos.
Perfect. So it's like
kataception, basically.
Right? If you're doing this kata, you can actually go to the other katas that are in there. Okay, perfect.
Exactly.
Nice. I like the advertising within the actual show that we're doing of the show. Great.
So we've used this data, and this data is actually also assigned to a drop-down control. So this drop-down is actually listing up all of the katas.
A selection drop-down. Okay.
So guess what we're going to embed now?
Well, I see a YouTube in there, so I'm gonna guess the YouTube video stream or the...
Exactly. So the idea here is that I have a selector, and when I select something, I see the corresponding video beneath it. Now, this is YouTube videos, but this can be any video stream that you have, basically, right? So you can actually create a dynamic video player.
Yeah, if you have your own media server or something.
Exactly.
Okay, pointed to that.
Even here in Skyline, we have such a setup, but this is not exposed or for the kata, so we use the YouTube video.
Instead. Okay.
So how can can I now use this selection inside our URL? Right?
Yes.
So once again, we go to the settings, and I've already pre-filled this with the YouTube URL, but now we want to actually use, if we go to the data again, the video ID in here.
Right, so the selected one.
Exactly. So you can actually bring up a sort of IntelliSense when you open a bracket, and then it will say, okay, you want to use a feed? Yes, I do. From the current view, yes, it's in my current view. Okay, in my current view, I have a drop-down, a second drop-down, and I can access the URL from the app. Okay, it's the first drop-down. Okay, I want to use the selected item from the query rows, and then I have all of these properties that I can use. And I'm going to use the video ID. And if I do this, you see that
immediately it shows up.
So it shows up
even in the editor again, so it's good for iterative development and figuring out is it working or not before having to publish. Pretty good, pretty nice.
You can even, I think, change it and it will also update, so there you go.
Nice, nice, nice.
Even a later one with a different color, there you go. So using feeds in the URL
is a way
is
to
now
make
supported.
It dynamic.
Exactly. Now, as we inputted raw HTML as well, we would also like to leverage selection and feeds in that HTML instead. So at the bottom, I here have my title that we have previously, and I've already entered some placeholders here. Now we actually want to show the title, the views, and the duration from the video. And we have another drop down here above it. So similar approach. We go to the HTML, we select the title, and we're going to replace this with some brackets, and we say feed, current view. Now we have a different drop down. So this is drop down 9 in this case, selected item, query rows, and what do I want to select? The title.
But you could link it to the same drop down.
You could do that,
and have both change, showing you the video, and then next to it the metrics of it. For example.
Perfectly possible.
Cool.
Okay, so we've linked it to the title, and you see that the title is already showing up. Let's do the same for the views. So feed, current view, make sure that we select the right one, selected item, and here we have views.
Now those properties, where do those come from?
That's a very, very good question. So if we go to our data set, we see that we have title, video ID, length, and thumbnail URL in there. So it's the column names.
The columns of the input that you give it with the GUI and
the drop down behind the scenes is actually containing the entire row. Which means that if I select something, I have access to that entire row, so I can access all of these different columns. Even though the drop down is only showing one column, we expose the entire row, which gives and also, and then like things like the view and duration, you retrieve that with the GUI query. It's not based on just the HTML, something with the web component specifically. No, that's all the GUI data set that exposes that data.
Okay, so you need to grab that data either through a connector or a GUI or ad hoc data source, whatever. Okay, great. No, thank you.
Still have the duration to go, so let's do it one more time. So we feed it, we selected item, and now it's to the length. And there we have it. So let's try and publish our app. The first page contains our documentation, contains a hello there. The second page has
the selected video.
I change it, it updates. And here as well, if I change a different one, I see that everything changes. So we have a very dynamic web component.
Okay. But now, why would we do, especially the last thing, why would we do that in a web component? Because I think it's a feed that comes from data in the table. We already have, if I remember my other katas right, a whole bunch of visualizations for those tables. And what would make one pick that over something else?
So what we typically see in the field is that we have some tables that are being selected and used, perhaps in a different page, and then you perhaps open a side panel, and users sometimes get lost a bit. So with this feature, you are able to have a selection in one page and then have your panel hover over it or open above it, basically. And you have a title in there that just confirms what has been selected, what context it is that you have that side panel in, basically.
Okay.
So it's basically a great tool to provide additional confirmation and context to the user.
All right. Yeah, and also probably like I said in the beginning, the CSS and styling like that. If you don't want to fiddle around with the settings and properties of things, you can probably just use that to really quickly get a dynamic thing.
Indeed.
And now, another question, if I can, if I may, when you use the web component and you go to a specific web page, how dynamic is that? If there's anything on there like buttons or drop downs already embedded, like things that use what is in the background, it's usually JavaScript.
JavaScript,
yeah. If it has JavaScript.
If you embed the page, that page is going to run on its own inside an iframe. So that will completely work as it should before. You can even embed another low-code app within this low-code app, and that embedded low-code app will work as expected.
Okay.
Do note that to embed a page, that page needs to specify that it allows to be embedded.
Right, so the website itself has to be developed with that in mind.
Yes, so the YouTube
has a
site
/embed.
Exactly, and that subdomain allows embedding while the entirety of YouTube does not allow embedding, right? So something to keep in mind for sure.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay, so that was it for today. I suggest that if you complete this exercise, you could take some screenshots of both pages, not the side panels, because these are already working, of course. So of these pages, and then we can grant you some DevOps points.
Yeah, indeed. So as you heard it, take some screenshots of what we just did here to get it. If you fill that in, send that screenshot upload it as usual. Then we'll give you your DevOps points indeed. If you are still interested in gaining a lot more DevOps points, don't forget we have a bunch of other katas you can do. And don't forget we also have some very special work on our GitHub for the validator. And if you grab one of those, you can actually get like 600 or what was it? It was a whole bunch of DevOps points.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. So remember those are out there as well if you are looking for a big boost in your points. Other than that, I would say thank you once again.
My pleasure.
For making time, showing us this amazing web component. For everyone watching, I would say I'll see you on the next one. Have fun.